सहगणा विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे सर्वशास्त्राब्धि पीयूष सर्ववेदैक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाढ्य सर्वलोकैक दृक्पद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभु फलिध्वान्तोदितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तित परमानंद पाठाय प्रेमवर्ष्यक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोऽस्तु मे मदेकबन्धो मत्सङ्गिन् मद्गुरो मन्महाधन मन्निस्तारक मद्भाग्य मदानंद नमोऽस्तु ते असाधु साधुता दायिन् अति निचोच्चता कर हानमुञ्च कदाचिन्मां प्रेम्णार्थकण्ठयोस्फुर श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराणम की जय। Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you in today's session. So we have gathered to discuss chapter 33rd, which is the last chapter in Kapila Shiksha. Of course, we are yet to discuss chapter 26, 27, and 28, but that's going to be the next unit, which I will teach by coming to Pune there. So I'm leaving from here, Govardhan, on Saturday night. So see you all there in the next week. So before that, we want to complete this chapter 33rd. So that in the next unit, then we just have 26, 27, and 28 to be completed. So this chapter is simple actually. 33rd activities of Kapila. So having discussed, bhakti, which is nirguna bhakti, bhakti, which is saguna, the role of compassion on the path of bhakti, influence of time, various kinds of moments of living entities, sattviki gati, tamasi gati, rajasi gati. So we see that now in this last chapter, Mother Devahuti, she is offering her gratitude towards Kapila Muni, glorifying him, and then finally taking his instructions, how she achieved Kapila's lotus feet, that is in the spiritual world, and that is what is mentioned in this particular chapter. So we hope to finish this in today's and tomorrow's session easily possible. So chapter 33rd, activities of Kapila. So I'm just sharing the screen now. So we'll go ahead with our regular style. I will read the verses and then one devotee can read for about 10 verses, the translations, then we proceed. So in this verse, in this particular chapter, there are 7 prayers by Devahuti. That's all primarily is the discussion. Rest of it is just description. So it will be done very quickly. Won't take much time. But these 7 prayers are there. So that is what would take today's session. I want to complete these prayers today. So first, about 8 verses. So chapter 33rd, activities of Kapila, text 1. Maitreya Uvacha. Evam nishamya kapilasya vacho janitri साकर्दमस्य दयिता किल देवहूतिः विस्रस्तमोहपटलातम अभिप्रणम्य तुष्टावतत्व विषयांकित सिद्धि भूमिम. Okay. Abhay Govind Prabhu, please read translation for next 10 verses.
Srimati said, thus, Devahuti, the mother of Lord Kapila, and wife of Kardan Muni, became freed from all ignorance concerning devotional service and transcendental knowledge. She offered her obeisances unto the Lord, the author of the basic principles of the Sankhya system of philosophy, which is the background of liberation, and she satisfied him with the following verses of prayer.
Yeah. So, am I clearly audible? Yes? Or I am not audible?
Clear, clear.
Clear, no? Okay. Fine. So, this chapter 33rd, you can see what are the contents of this chapter through the Karikas, the introductory verses written by Srila Sridhar Swami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So you can see here. त्रयस्त्रिंशे तु तस्यैव कपिलस्योपदेशतः ज्ञानभावेन तन्मातुर्जीवन्मुक्तिः उदीर्यते. Trayastrimshe in the 33rd chapter, Udiryate is spoken. What is spoken? Jivan Muktihi. Jivan Mukti of Devahuti is spoken. Her being liberated within the same body. And of course, also giving up, meaning her body becomes the river. So that is spoken. But especially her state of Jivan Mukti is spoken. Jnana Bhavena, by taking shelter of the transcendental knowledge that her son taught. So Mother Devahuti, she achieved the status of Jivan Mukti. Kapilasya Upadeshatah, where from that transcendental knowledge came? It came through Kapila's instructions that she had received all this while. So all these instructions that she is receiving through Kapila, so taking shelter of that knowledge and absorbing herself fully, being detached from all things that are material, she attained the status of being a Jivan Mukta. That is spoken in this particular chapter. Vishwan Chakravarti says, Trayastrimshe Devahutya Stutah Shri Kapilo Yayau Vanam Tadaupadishtena Vartmana Ayeva Tamapasa. In the 33rd chapter, Devahutya Stutah Shri Kapilo. And Devahuti, she praises, she offers her prayers to Shri Kapila Muni. So, having been praised by Mother Devahuti, then Kapila, Vanam Yayo, he went to the forest. He left Mother Devahuti, having instructed her in the transcendental knowledge. So he did not stay, because that was the purpose, right, for which he appeared, and he also, Kardam Muni also wanted that while he was leaving, that Sri Kapila enlightens his wife, and then she also becomes steadily situated on the path of transcendence. So, yes, by Kapila Muni's instructions, Mother Devahuti also, tad upadishtena vartmana eva tam apasa. So, she also followed Vartma. She also followed the path that was instructed by Kapila Muni. And tam apa. Apa means attained or obtained. She obtained him only. She obtained Kapila only. Meaning she obtained Kapila in the spiritual world. Like that. She became completely absorbed with Kapila Muni's consciousness, because he's Lord, no? He's Bhagavan himself, Kapila. So she became absorbed in his thoughts and finally attained him completely in the spiritual world. So this is what is spoken in this chapter. So in this verse, Evam nishamya kapilasya vacho janitri. So in this way, hearing the words or instructions of Kapila Muni, Mother Janitri, Mother Devahuti, sa kardamasya daita kila Devahuti. That Devahuti, who was actually very, very dear to Kardama also, because he bestowed upon her great mercy, and especially such a son like Kapila Muni. Yes, and he arranged for her deliverance through Kapila Muni by leaving her in the protection of illustrious Kapila Muni. So that's how she was Daita of Kardama Muni. Visrasta moha patala tamabhi pranamya. So hearing the words or instructions of Kapila Muni, all her moha, patala means avaranam, covering, all the covering of any sort of attachment, it just completely got pierced and completely broken. All the covering got removed. So then, tam abhi pranamya, offering obeisances to Kapila Muni, she praised him by beautiful prayers, tushtav. And Kapila is said to be tattva vishayankita siddhi bhumim. So Kapila Muni, he is said to be bhumi, Prabhupada writes background, propounder, you could say, background or propounder, one who is the shelter of what? Tattva vishayankita siddhi. He is the shelter of all the philosophical perfection. Tattva vishayankita siddhi. The perfection which is marked with the knowledge of all the tattvas of the material world. Sankhya jnana, you could say. Perfection by Sankhya. So he is the bhumi, he is the shelter, or he is the pravartaka, propounder of that Sankhya jnana. So that's why tattva vishayankita siddhi bhumi, like that he has been glorified. Background for liberation, Prabhupada says. Background in the sense, it is ground of, background in the sense of it being actually the shelter of that knowledge of Sankhya, because it is being propounded by Kapila. Background doesn't mean that the knowledge of Sankhya is somewhat the prelude and then something else, higher thing is to be spoken. Not like that. The word background can lead to some other understanding also, right? So background and foreground, like we say. So here background means bhumi is the word that is used for background, which means that actually the Sankhya stands on the shelter of Kapila Muni. Like that. That's the point here. The system of philosophy enunciated by Lord Kapila before his mother is the background for situation on the spiritual platform. The specific significance of this system of philosophy is stated here in its Siddhi Bhumi. It's the background of salvation. Because Kapila's Sankhya is not atheistic Sankhya, no? It is completely devotional Sankhya, right? 28 element Sankhya. So then it covers everything. In fact, we saw there was discussion also on Nirguna Bhakti. So now what more than that to discuss? That is the highest sadhana. So that's why here we see that Kapila is actually the basis, the propounder, the shelter of that particular system. And anybody who takes shelter of this system achieves devotional perfection, salvation in the sense of vimukti, Vishesha Mukti, going back home, back to Godhead. Like that. By this system of philosophy, one can immediately become free, even though one is situated in this material world. That stage is called Jivana Mukti. Somebody who takes shelter of this philosophy and practices it, then one can become a Jivan Mukta, liberated within this material body, right? Jivan Mukta is the word. Jivan Mukta and Videha Mukta. So one who is liberated within the body is known as Jivan Mukta. One who is liberated by accepting another body, that is known as Videha Mukta. By accepting transcendental body, that is called Videha Mukta. So that is what happened for Devavati. She became Jivan Mukta. So she satisfied the Lord by offering her prayers. So these wonderful prayers are spoken in next 7 verses. Devahuti Rovacha Athapyajontah Salileshayanam Bhutendriyarthatmamayam Vakuste Gunapravaham Sadashesha Bijam Dadhyo Swayam Yajjatarabjajatat.
Devahuti
Yes.
said, Brahma is said to be unborn because he takes birth from the lotus flower. It grows from your abdomen, while you lie in the ocean at the bottom of the universe. But even Brahma simply meditated upon you, whose body is the source of unlimited universes.
It is very small volume.
हाँ
It
अभी
is
गोविंद आपका आवाज
very
थोड़ा
Okay,
कम
small.
okay,
आया
okay. Now is it
अभी ठीक
okay?
है now better
Okay,
है
Now it is okay. You can
okay.
read again.
Devahuti said, Brahma is said to be unborn because he takes birth from the lotus flower, which grows from your abdomen, while you lie in the ocean at the bottom of the universe. But even Brahma simply meditated upon you, whose body is the source of unlimited universes.
Yes, thank you. So you can see Mother Devahuti, she praised the Supreme Lord Tushtava by very beautiful prayers. So first and foremost, she says that, see, I'm going to show you some of the original words of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur because he has written a very beautiful comment. See, Tatvam Upadeshya Yatvam Mam Samsarat Uddharasi Na Etat Chitram. Actually, instructing me in this transcendental philosophy, you are delivering me from samsara. Etat na chitram. This is not very wonderful, she is saying to Kapila. It's not very wonderful that by instructing this, extraordinary philosophy of Krishna consciousness, this devotional Sankhya, that you are actually delivering me from samsara. This is not very wonderful. What is wonderful? Chitram khalu etadeva. Actually, what is chitram? What is very wonderful? What is very enthralling is that yan manusha krishtaya mamapi garbhat jatosi. What is more surprising, my lord, is that how come someone like you who is delivering here with this transcendental knowledge and from whose belly the lotus sprouts on which Brahma is born, such a personality of Godhead, that is you, how come you actually appeared from my womb? Huh? Yan manushaha nikrishtayaha. From an ordinary, very inferior woman like me. She gave birth to you. You appeared from my womb. That is surprise, my lord. That is a wonder. So you can see now, this is a no Devahuti, after receiving all these wonderful instructions, her heart is filled with those emotions of uh, great appreciation for her son. And she's wondering that what was my fortune that I received such a person as my son? So in that particular great realization of her fortune, she is feeling grateful. She's feeling very much grateful, and she is offering her obeisances and saying, "My Lord, I don't know how. I mean, how is that I could be your mother?" Jathri Kruta Ananta Koti Brahmanda Parameshwar Ityaha. How is that in whose belly there are billions of universes, right? That person, he entered my belly or my garbha, my womb. Isn't this amazing? Actually, that is most amazing. And you are speaking this astounding philosophy, that is not amazing. But this is very, very amazing. So that's what is the mood in first three verses in these prayers. How is that you became my child? How is that you entered my womb? Why? Yad jadharabja jataha, one who is born from the lotus that sprouts from your navel. Who is that person? Brahma. Huh? Athapyajo. So that Aja, that unborn Brahma also, what happened to him? She is saying that that person also, te vapuho asvayam dadhyo eva. Actually, even he was able to only meditate on you. He was not able to see you directly. Isn't it? We know that. Brahma could hear those words, tapa, tapa, and he just meditated. Uh, Lord gave him the knowledge of what to meditate on. And then we see that he was able to meditate on the Supreme Lord. It's not like he could immediately see the Supreme Lord. No, right? So he held that form in his meditation. A third canto explains this, right? So, which was that form? Antashalile Shayanam, that form of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, which was lying in the waters of Garbhodaka ocean. That form of the Lord is said to be Bhutendriya Artha Atmamayam, that form which consists of the gross elements and the senses and the sense objects and the mind, or you could say jivas, Atma can refer to mind or jivas, whatever. It basically includes everything, right? Garbhodakshayi, that form of the Lord, it has all these aspects. So Brahma, he only meditated on that Supreme Lord. It was not that he was able to see him immediately. And then only after meditation we see that then the Supreme Lord appeared to him. So how rare is Lord's darshan? That's what she is saying here. How rare is that darshan? Even the great Brahma, he could not see the Lord immediately. And in fact, we see also that Lord Brahma is usually not able to see the Supreme Lord, right? He goes, even during the course of universe, we see that Lord Brahma goes only to the ocean of the Kshira Sagar, and there he has to glorify the Supreme Lord, sit in meditation, and then there also he only hears the words of the Supreme Lord. He does not get darshan that easily, right? So we see that that's how this idea she is speaking. So that form of the Lord is said to be Antashalile Shayanam, Bhutendriyartha Atmamayam Vapu. Guna Pravaham, it is also the one, that form of the Supreme Lord, which we know that causes the Guna Pravaha, that causes all the passage of the modes. By his glance only we see that everything starts moving. Sadashesha Bijam, and that form is actually the form of the root cause of everything in the universe, isn't it? Whatever gross or subtle, sadasad, or whatever it is, we see that it's the form is the cause of that. So that is why it is said Sad Ashesha Bijam. It's the cause of the entire universe, whatever is there in the universe. So that such a form is even for Brahma difficult to obtain darshan of, but he can only meditate on that form. But such is my fortune that that form has become my child and it has entered my womb and it appeared, I mean, that form appeared from my womb. Isn't it amazing? She's just feeling so much, you can say, gratitude towards the Supreme Lord this way. Vishwanath Chakravarti gives the meaning of this Bhutendriyartha Atmamayam Gunapravaham as transcendental form actually. See, that form can, I mean, that Garbhodakshayi form certainly contains all the jivas and everything, right? Everything, all the universe and everything is there within him. Universal contents are within him. But Vishwanath Chakravarti gives this particular word meaning, which is completely transcendental meaning, where he says that actually that form is completely transcendental, which means that the elements of that form or the senses or the sense objects, the mind, everything of that form is completely transcendental. It has got nothing to do with the material aspects. You can see, he says that Bhutani Indriyani Arthascha Atmamaya. कैसा कैसा रूप है वो? आत्ममय भूत इंद्रिय तथा अर्थ, मतलब तन्मात्राओं से परिपूर्ण. That form which is Atmamaya. Atmamaya here means Chinmaya. It is a form which is completely transcendental. So you can see he is giving a different meaning to this word, Bhutendriya Arthatmamayam. Prabhupada takes the meaning which is meaning by Sridhar Swami, like that. Guna Pravaham also, you can see. Guna Pravaham, Vishwanath Chakravarti says, which means that he is filled with so many wonderful qualities. Bhakta Vatsalyadin Prakarsena Vahati. जिनके व्यक्तित्व से गुणों का प्रवाह हो रहा है. Such beautiful qualities such as Bhakta Vatsalya. He just filled with such beautiful qualities. So his form is transcendental and his gunas are also transcendental. So he is using these two words to mean these things. Bhutendriyartha Atmamayam means his form is completely Chinmaya, and Guna Pravaham means his qualities are also completely transcendental. So even such a form, we can see, Brahma could only meditate on that. He was not able to see that form immediately. But what is my fortune that that form has become a child of mine, she is saying. Brahma is called Aja, Prabhupada, no? He who is unborn. Devahuti wanted to impress upon the Lord that when Brahma wants to see him, he has to meditate upon him. Brahma has to perform many years of meditation, and even then he cannot see you directly face to face, right? That's all. The nature of Lord's gigantic body is also explained. That body is transcendental, untouched by matter. So Vishwanath Chakravarti's meaning. Since the material manifestation has come from this body, his body therefore existed before the material creation. Very simple logic, right? If everything is coming out of Lord, and Lord existed before everything, ahameva asam evagre. So if he was existing before the creation, means that he was his form is transcendental, quite logical, this way. So that's the point. The transcendental body of Vishnu is not made up of material elements. This way. And it is source of all other living entities, material nature, and all that. Devhuti said, you are the background of material manifestation and all created energy. Therefore, your delivering me from clutches of Maya by explaining the system of Sankhya philosophy is not so astonishing. But your being from my abdomen is certainly wonderful, because although you are source of all creation, you have kindly taken birth as my child. That is most wonderful. So you see, he's repeating Srila Vishwan Chakravarti's commentary there. That this idea that actually what is real Ashcharya, what is astonishing is, how is that such an ordinary woman like me could have you as the Lord in my womb, in my belly. So she is expressing that joy. Saeva vishvasya bhavan vidhatte guna pravahen bhaktaviryaha sargadhyaneto vidhata bhisandhir atmeshvaro tarkya sahasra shakti.
My dear Lord, although personally you have nothing to do, you have distributed your energies in the interactions of the material modes of nature. And for that reason, the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation take place. My dear Lord, you are self determined and are the Supreme Personality of Godhead for all living entities. For them, you created this material manifestation. And although you are one, your diverse energies can act multifariously. This is inconceivable to us.
Hmm. So she says that when you create this universe, last verse she spoke about how he's the cause of the universe. So when he creates this universe and maintains it, is it a big effort for him? So she's addressing that thing. She says that actually it's not at all a big effort for you. How is that? She says, Saeva Vishwasya Sargadi Bhavan Vidhatte. Saeva Bhavan. You only, my dear Lord, you accomplish Sargadi, creation, maintenance, destruction of this particular universe. How do you accomplish this? So she says that you do this aniha. You don't even actually become very much involved with the material world. Aniha, you don't have any desire, in fact. You are free from any desires in the material world. Why do people act? People act in this world. They perform activities because they have some desire, no? Right? A man works, he earns money, he gets married, had children, has a family. Why? He has some purpose in it, right? He wants to find happiness, he wants to feel some sense of worthness in his life. So everybody in this world, Vedanta says that is working for some purpose. He wants to accomplish something for his own sake. Uh, So, but when Supreme Lord is creating this universe, is he acting for his own sake? What purpose he has got to achieve? Right? He's Atma Rama. So, he's not incomplete in his heart in any way. Aniha, uh, like that. Or Aniha can also mean the non-doer, uh, which means that he is doing all these things, but he has absolutely no involvement because everything is happening by his desire. Aniha. He's not doing it. He's Satya Sankalpa. Uh, that's the point. That's the next word. Avithatha Abhisandhi, which means that one whose abhisandhi, one whose purpose is never ever frustrated. That's Satya Sankalpa. So because he's Satya Sankalpa, so he's Aniha. Right? all his desires, they completely get fulfilled. But point is that, as far as material world is concerned, he does not even so much desire it. He just wants that Srishti Leela for the sake of the conditioned souls. He's completely detached from material world. Udasina vadasinam asaktam teshuk karmasu. He says that Krishna actually does not put his heart in the material world. Absolutely. So that's why he is said to be aniha avithatha bisandhi. But still he accomplishes the creation, maintenance, destruction of this world. How does he do that? Guna pravahena vibhakta viryaha. What he does is he actually empowers his various modes, the
Right.
modes of his material energy. He empowers them. Like he empowers Brahma in the mode of passion, and that's how he accomplishes the creation. Then he empowers Vishnu, and thereby he accomplishes maintenance. He empowers Shiva and he achieves the destruction. That is guna pravahena vibhakta virya. He his great potency he separates, distinguishes by empowering these various personalities to perform various tasks of the phase of creation, right? So in this way. So why is he doing all these things? Just for the sake of the jivas. Atmeshwaro, Atmanam Ishwaraha, one who is the master of the jivas. So for the sake of the souls which want to enjoy the material world, he is creating this whole material aspect. Otherwise, he himself is not involved at all. Krishna will never say about spiritual world like this, right? Udasina vadasinam asaktam deshu karmasu. No, he will never say like that. Krishna is not udasin in the spiritual world. But in the material world, he is said to be udasin. Atmeshwara. For the sake of the jivas, as Kripa, he is doing this. Atarke sahasra shakti. And while he does this, he has actually Ananta, Ananta Chintya Shaktimat. He has unlimited energies, which are inconceivable energies also. Right? Ananta Shakti and Achintya Shakti also. Krishna can do physically impossible things and logically impossible things also. Ananta Shakti shows the aspect of his being able to do physically impossible things, which may be impossible for us, but somebody has a sufficient strength, he can do it. Like I cannot lift the table, but somebody else who has strength, he can lift the table. Someone else has bigger strength, can even lift one truck also, right? But who can do logically impossible things? Can you draw a square circle? Can you create a stone which you yourself cannot lift? Can God make someone else as God? Can God, all these sort of questions they ask logicians, a logical impossibility. So Krishna can do actually anything which is logically impossible. Can he give the free will to the jivas and still know what that free will is? Yes, he can do that. He knows every jiva's free will. Although that free will is quote unquote free, but still he knows. That is called logical impossibility. And he can do it. That is achintyata. How can he do it? Yeah, that's difficult for us because our brain is able to function only in logical framework. It cannot conceive anything which is beyond logic. Trans logic, isn't it? Square circle. It's difficult. We cannot even imagine What is a square circle? So, atarkya sahasra shakti, he is like that. So, while he accomplishes this creation, she is saying that it is actually effortless for him. Guna pravahena rajadi guna paramparaya vibhaktam vibhajya dattam viryam srishtyadi shakti yena. So, Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva, he divides that virya, that divides that energy and empowers different people. Empowers Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. She's praying to the Supreme Lord, so that's why empowering Vishnu is being spoken here. Like that. Gunavatar Vishnu. So that's how avithata visandhi, satya sankalpa. This is Supreme Lord, just by his desire that way. But although the desire to create the material world is there, because he personally does not get involved, and that desire he has with a complete sense of udasinta, indifference towards the material world. So he is said to be not involved with the material world at all, this way. So you can see Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, Prabhupada says that each of whom is particularly invested with different kinds of power. Devotee is saying, although you personally are not doing anything, your determination is absolute. There is no question of your fulfilling your will with the help of anybody else besides yourself. Avitadha bisandhi. The Supreme Lord can check others' plans. Man proposes, God disposes. But when the Supreme Personality of Godhead proposes, that desire is under no one else's control. He is absolute. Right? We see that. If God proposes, nobody can dispose it. But even a very powerful man may propose something, but if Krishna doesn't want, it will not happen, right? That's how we see that so many things in this world, they are destroyed by the plan of the Supreme. Right? There was this big politician from Maharashtra, Deputy CM, a powerful personality, thousands of acres of land, and so much wealth he has. But, he just thought that he will be able to, like any other day, land through that plane that he had. But on that particular day, it couldn't land. It crashed. And such a powerful man with, entire state's security and wealth for his protection. But who could protect him actually? Nobody could protect, right? Finished. So all that wealth and all that power and so many men, bodyguards, what can they do in front of the will of the Supreme? Nothing can happen. Man proposes, God disposes. Like that. So living entity should understand this precarious condition and should understand that actually I should be a humble person because finally in front of the Supreme, we are all tiny tots, right? So even if sometimes we see that someone may not die such untimely death, so to say, but finally as time, everything is destroyed, right? Prabhupada writes a very nice line in fourth canto. He says that time is the God realization for an atheist. He says in the Puranjan section, time, it acts as God realization for an atheist. That time coming in front of him and destroying everything, that's God realization for an atheist. Like that. So that's how. And in spite of his being unlimited, he has subjected himself to being known from the authoritative scriptures like the Vedic literatures. Right? He is achintya, but still, shrutestu shabda mulatvat. But still, he can be understood on the basis of Shruti scriptures. This way. Why is the creation made? Since the Lord is Supreme Personality of Godhead for all living entities, Atmeshwara. चूंकि वो आत्माओं के ईश्वर है, इसलिए उन आत्माओं के लिए ही इस सृष्टि का प्राकट्य किया गया. That's what एको बहुना योग दधातु कामा. So like that he explains this verse. So one more verse with that feeling of how such a Lord came in my womb. Satvam bhruto me jatarena nath katham nu yasyodara etadasit vishvam yugante vatapatra ekah shete sma maya shishurangripana.
As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you have taken birth from my abdomen. O my Lord, how is that possible for the Supreme One, who has in his belly all the cosmic manifestation? The answer is that it is possible, for at the end of the millennium you lie down on a leaf of a banyan tree, and just like a small baby you lick the toe of your lotus foot.
So she is herself asking the question and she is answering also herself. How, my Lord, how you came in my jatar, in my womb? But it is possible because, at the end of the creation, you, on that small Vatapatra, you are just lying there as a small child, although you are master of unlimited universes. Maya Shishu, that's the word. Very nice. She is describing. Satvam bhruto me jatarena nath katham nu yasyo dare tadasit. So katham, how is that, my Lord? You have actually placed, you were in my womb and being nourished by my womb, nourished in my belly. So she says that it is actually, I understand. It is possible. Why? Because Yasyodare etadasit, in whose belly this this universe is there, we see that child, that is you, Yugante, at the end of the creation, we see that particular day of Brahma, at the end of that, we saw that you sleep on Shete, you lie down on one single Vatapatra, just single banyan leaf, right? Vatasya patre pute shayanam balam mukundam manasasmaram, right? So we see that she's saying that it is actually, I understand it is possible because this is how you are. That is your that's how naturally you can actually have such a mystic potency. Maya Shishu Angripana. So Maya Shishu, Maya here actually means Kripa. Kripa Shishu. Kripa ke vash aap Shishu bane ho aise. That is Maya Shishu. Angripana. And he is actually sucking on the thumb of his lotus foot. Right? Kara Ravinde Pada Ravindam. So we see that Balmukundashtakam glorifies that particular aspect. So we see it is his mercy, Maya Shishu. So it is actually extraordinary mercy. Maya, Jiva Goswami usually uses that in the sense of kripa or love. That's his love. Vishwanath Chakravarti gives also very amazing meaning. So he says, Mother Devahuti she's saying here to Kapila Muni, that my dear Lord, so, how such a great personality like you, how you entered my womb and how you situated yourself in my belly. Please, you only tell the reason. Huh? You tell. She is asking like that to Kapila Muni. Iti आश्चर्यस्य कारणं त्वमेव ब्रूहि. You only tell the reason of this amazing thing. Huh? So then if she is asking Kapila, she is imploring Kapila, you please tell me, my lord, how is it possible that you entered my womb, although the entire universe is within your womb? So then Kapila is saying, Svashisho mai kadhamevam brushe. So he says that, my dear mother, I am just your child. Why you are asking all these tough questions to me? Why you are asking? Please don't ask me these tough questions. Like that. I am just a Shishu. I am your child. Infant, actually. Shishu is not even a child, right? Shishu means less than 3 years. So I am just, you are an infant. Uh, if Kapila were to say like that. So then mother says, Devhuti says, yeah, you are actually Shishu. Yeah, I remember. Which Shishu? Yeah, that Shishu which lies at the end of this universe, that Shishu who lies on that Vatapatra, on the banyan leaf. Uh, you are that Shishu, like that. So you are Maya Shishu, actually. What is that Maya Shishu? Kripa Maya Balamurti. आप कृपा के कारण इस बाल मूर्ति को धारण करते हो. What kind of कृपा? Very nice, he writes. You see, just a minute here. मां बाललालनाभ्यासिनः सांसारिकापि लोका ध्यातुं शक्नुवन्तु इति कृपामय. So he takes that form of Balam Mukundam, Bala Mukunda, that small infant on the banyan leaf. Why does he do that? Because in this world, people are very much used to abhyasina, abhyas karte hai wo. People are very much used to cuddling a child, right? Samsarikas, especially householders, we know that they like the child so much. And I mean, everybody likes children, but yeah, especially this is spoken in the context of household life. That one who likes to play with the child, cuddle the child, cajole the child, coax the child. Uh, so much of love. Bala lalana abhyasina. छोटे बच्चे का लालन पालन का जिनको अभ्यास है, those householders also, when they will hear about this Bala Mukunda form, oh, such a beautiful child, and they will meditate on that form, and this way they will get purified. They will develop that, oh, may such a Lord, I also have him as my child. Or they may just get absorbed in remembering that form, singing his glories, right? So that's Kripamaya Balamurti, that's his mercy. People usually are very much attracted to the children, right, in this world, because they carry that innocence. They carry that very natural innocence and purity and all. Of course, sometimes people have very perverse attractions also for children, which is extremely unfortunate. That is a very demoniac kind of attitude. But otherwise, the Vedic culture, we see that the child, it denotes the purity, it denotes simplicity, right? So fond, people are so fond of children. So Krishna takes that form of an infant who is, in a very, very endearing way, sucking on the toe, on the thumb of the right foot. So we see that that is his Kripamaya Balamurti. Samuchit Madhura Leela. Because he takes that form, so he also does appropriate pastimes like that. What's the purpose? Swacharanangushthapana karta. When he's sucking on his thumb of his foot, lotus foot. So What is he thinking? Sarvameva sukham tyaktva matcharan madhurya eva sarve manishina nimajjanti. Actually, giving up all material opulences and giving up everything of this world, I see that the most intelligent people, they're always, submerging, drowning themselves in the nectar of my lotus foot or lotus feet. Huh? So Krishna also says, oh, I should also taste what's there so much in my lotus foot. Iti buddhya. Maya api asvadya anubhavaniyam. So that's why he puts his thumb of his lotus foot in his mouth. अंगुष्ठ पान करता, अपने चरणों के अंगुष्ठ को स्वयं ही पान कर रहे हैं. Thinking that what is there in that the devotees are feel so special, right? We see that this is how Lord Chaitanya also thought. Lord Chaitanya's special appearance is also one of the reasons is this, that okay, what is so special about my lotus feet that devotees find such a joy in these lotus feet, especially Radharani. What a bliss she experiences. Krishna wanted to know that, experience that himself. So that's why he appeared as Lord Chaitanya, right? So this is how Maya Shishu has been described. So Maya Shishu is Kripa Maya Balamurti. Kripa here, Maya does not mean, because Maya word can have many meanings. So if such words come, then immediately Mayavadis, they attack. But these fools don't understand that you have to see the context also. No? If Devahuti wants to say that the Supreme Lord is Maya, then why is she praying for that attachment? Why is she praying for devotion to that form? She should say, no, that please give me all focus on Nirguna Brahma or something. But those guys just don't understand this context aspects. They are expert in ripping off the context. So this is the point. This is the problem. पौर्वापर्य नहीं होता है उनमें. पूर्व में क्या बोला है, अपर में मतलब बाद में क्या बोला है. They don't see these things, and that's why their interpretations are typically extremely. They don't have any sense of context only. Suddenly some discussion will come, and because they just go by the words, they don't go by the context. So this is how Maya Shishu. Jiva Goswami also says Atarkya Shakti Tat Pradhana Shishu. He says Maya means Atarkya Shakti. He has inconceivable potency. So one who is filled with such potency, such personality is Maya Shishu. Or as per Vishwanath Chakravarti, Kripa Maya Balamurti, in this way. So that's how she is praying. Your lying down within the abdomen of a common woman like me is not so astonishing. You can lie down on the leaf of a banyan tree and float on the water of devastation as a small baby. So then, what is so wonderful to lie down in the abdomen of Mother Devahuti? Why do you do that? You teach us that those who are very fond of children within this material world, they can also have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their child. Of course, Prabhupada, in one of the purports in 10th canto, where there is discussion of Krishna and Sutapa. Yeah. So there he says that, in one of the purports, he says there that one should not desire to have the Supreme Lord as their child. Rather, one should try to go back home, back to Godhead. Instead of bringing Krishna to the material world so that he can become your child, Prabhupada says, better become child of Krishna. And I mean, you can have Vatsalya Ras also, but have it in the spiritual world. So Prabhupada says that this sort of desire to have Krishna as one's child, especially in the material world, he is saying. That is not so much encouraged. Some very great devotees, they may appear in the material world with Lord as their child, but that is different. Uh, as a sadhana to aspire for such a thing in the material world, he says that it's not very much encouraged. So instead, one can aspire to serve the Supreme Lord in the transcendental spiritual world, or wherever he wants to send, basically. If not spiritual world, wherever Krishna wants to send in that Vatsalya Bhav. Sometimes the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself wonders how much transcendental pleasure is within himself. And in order to taste his own potency, he sometimes takes the position of tasting himself. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, but he appears as a devotee to taste the sweetness of transcendental mellow in himself, which is tasted by Srimati Radharani, the greatest of all the devotees. So that's what is Lord Chaitanya, that mood of Lord Chaitanya. Vishwan Chakravarti says here that is also being shown by Bala Mukunda, the Supreme Lord. Tvam deha tantra prashamaya papmanam nidesh bhajam cha vibho vibhutaye yathavatarastav sukaradayas tatha yamapyatma pathopalabdhaye.
My dear Lord, you have assumed this body in order to diminish the sinful activities of the fallen and to enrich their knowledge in devotion and liberation. Since these sinful people are dependent on your direction, by your own will, you assume incarnations as a boar and as other forms. Similarly, you have appeared in order to distribute transcendental knowledge to your dependents.
Yeah. So in this way, although you are there in my womb, I mean, you appeared from my womb, but my dear Krishna, my dear Supreme Lord, why do you appear? So in text 5, she is telling the general purpose of Lord's incarnation and also purpose of Kapila's incarnation. So, Samanya Prayojana and Vishesha Prayojanam api. She is describing. So, what is Samanya Prayojana is spoken in the first two lines. Tvam deha tantraha prashamaya papmanam nidesha bhajam cha vibho vibhutaye. My dear Lord Vibho, why do you appear in this world accepting this form, accepting this transcendental body, deha tantraha, which means that you have a transcendental body, or it can mean that you accepting the body which appears to be like under control, right? Under control of parents or under control of your devotees. But what is your purpose? Papmanam prashamaya nidesha bhajam vibhutaye. For the prosperity of those who follow your nidesh, those who follow your adesh, instructions. And papmanam prashamaya, which means, and for curbing, for destroying those who are sinful or wicked people who are trying to torture your devotees or cause adharma. So basically, paritrana is sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrita. That idea. She is speaking. And this idea is spoken in many places in Bhagavatam, right? That's the general purpose of Lord's incarnations. So just as you have many avatars like Sukara, Meena, and then Nrasimha, and like that. Tatha ayam api. Similarly, this incarnation also of Kapila. Okay, what is the Vishesha Prayojan of this? Atma Pathopalabdhaye. Atma Patha ki upalabdhi ke liye, in order to provide the path of self-realization, especially the philosophical Sankhya, by giving the path of philosophical understanding of the transcendental world. That's why you come. You see? So this is the aspect that this verse she is addressing. So you can see Vishwan Chakravarti speaks about this. The aspect of what is the purpose for which Lord has appeared, or any incarnation of the Lord usually appears like that. So you can see Jiva Goswami says Samanyataha Prayojanam and Visheshtaha Prayojanam. These are the words of Jiva Goswami. Vishwan Chakravarti says, Kincha tava svabhaveva ayam. My dear Krishna, actually, my dear Lord, this is your nature only. We talked about Maya Shishur Angripana, right? That because of great mercy, you take that form of the child. But actually, you take every form because of great mercy only. And this is your nature only. Swabhav hi aisa hai, Bhagwan. Kripaya evam avatarasi. You actually, you appear because of merciful nature only. That mercy may be more or less, extraordinary mercy or general mercy, but basically it is mercy. He has that in the material world, his whole appearance is basically because of being very merciful to the jivas. Right? So just like Deha Tantra means Anya Balako Yatha. Just like any other ordinary child, how he enters into mother's womb and then completely dependent on mother. So similarly, you also Leelaya, you also by your own sweet will, you entered into my womb and you were like completely dependent on me. Like as a small child, how he's dependent on his mother for everything for that matter, right? For eating, for drinking milk, or for cleaning, or for whatever. We see that the child is so much dependent on mother. So similarly, you also have accepted this, but Leelaya, that's the very important thing. Leela ke dwara, Leela Shakti ke dwara. Or Deha Tantra, another meaning it means one who is very nicely decorated, Vastra Lankar Parichedo. Deha Tantra here means all these accoutrements of, beautiful clothes and beautiful ornaments and all. So he is wearing that as a child, he is wearing that. So that's what she says that is Deha Tantra. We see. So you can see three meanings of Deha Tantra, I told, based on commentaries, of course. Deha Tantra means one who has, by his own sweet will, accepted that dependence on mother's body or mother. Or Deha Tantra can also mean one who is decorated with very beautiful clothes and ornaments and other accessories. Or third meaning of Deha Tantra, as per which Vijayadhvaj Tirtha, is that Deha Tantra means one whose body is transcendental. Tantra there means prakash. So that body which emits the transcendental light, it is Chinmaya Deha. It is not Achit Deha, Jada Deha, Maya Deha. No, it is Chinmaya Deha. So we can see that. So he comes in this world to bestow prosperity on those who follow his instructions. In this particular case, what is that prosperity? Bhakti Jnanadi Sampatyai. He bestows upon them the knowledge of the devotional service. So same way, Kapila also has come here so as to preach the message or preach the path of Sviya Bhakti Jnan, how to attain him by the process of bhakti. For that purpose he has come. Okay, so that's the purpose. Prabhupada also says, in previous verses, general transcendental qualifications of Supreme Personality of Godhead were described. Now, specific purpose of Lord's appearance is also described. The Lord's form as Kapila directs the fallen souls and enriches them with knowledge and devotion so that they may go back home, back to Godhead. So all these ideas you understand. If you understand verse very nicely, then it's not at all difficult what Prabhupada is saying in the purport, right? And you can even connect to one word actually, which idea he's speaking by and which is connecting to which word this way. So we see that specific purpose of Lord Kapila's appearance is also glorified by Mother Devotee. So this is a very classic verse, next verse. So before that, are there any questions on what we discussed? Anything you want to ask? Pandurang Sharan Prabhu, yes.
Prabhuji, Dandavat. Prabhuji, that second, sorry, light has gone. The second verse, you mentioned that Lord glance on the creation, so he existed before the creation, so his body is transcendental. That in purport also it is mentioned. So he has to exist before the creation. First living creature is Brahma. So now, if it is so clear that Lord is beyond the material existence, then how this point also and fact also is manipulated by the impersonalist or Maya or they make it as form of goodness, Vishuddha Sattva, something like that.
Yeah, see, it's like they say that all such explanations actually are explanations which sort of these explanations are like you look at you look at the rope and then you see it as a snake. So someone may see it as a snake which is like black mamba. Someone may see it as a snake which is cobra. Third person may see it as a snake which is take other Taiwan viper or something. So what is happening is that same reality is being seen by different people in different way. It is the same rasi rope, but you see, it is appearing like a snake, and people are imagining what sort of snake also. So similarly, they say that when the imagination of Brahman is done as Ishvara, so that is sattvic imagination. So Shastras speak all these sattvic imagination for those who want some sattvic kind of illusion. For those who want rajasic kind of illusion, then Shastras speak about ideas about the humans, Madhya Tishtanti Rajasa, such ideas. And when they want to hear about the tamasic illusion, then the Shastras speak about other Rakshasas and the demons and the animals and hellish species and all that. So all three descriptions in Shastra, they are illusions. So like that they speak.
But then here Lord Brahma himself is meditating, and it is a fact how this can be an illusion. The whole concept is taken as illusion.
Yeah, that's what like they have decided that it is illusion. And they don't worry. If we speak about context, then they just keep quiet or they just say that no, but this is the fact. You may say such a thing, but this is what. So they are like determined people. You speak to a Mayavadi on the basis of context. You see, he will stop talking to you. Uh, He will say, you don't go on context. You see this word, Maya Shishu, like that. He will say, why you are speaking about context? You go by the words. So that's why Paurva Pariya, whenever Acharyas smash their ideas, they say, so is Kapila contradicting? Is Mother Devotee contradicting what she said in the last verse? Like that. So they say that, no, that was Vyavharik. Now she is speaking Paramarth. So it's a strategy, Prabhu. It's a very well set strategy. And in that, why Devahuti would switch from Paramarthik to Vyavharik, they don't have absolutely any explanation on that. That why she keeps on switching. Okay, she should follow some pattern, no? That two verses she speaks Vyavharik, then one Paramarthik, then two. Nothing like that. She can switch on between Vyavaharik, Paramarthik within the same verse also. So that is their madness. They are mad people actually. They, that's why they don't come into Bhagavatam. They say that leave this Bhagavatam. Don't. Uh, but within Bhagavatam also, if they get some word like that, then they rear their ugly head there also.
Yes, Guruji. And to call
Okay.
this as illusion, they are quoting some references of slokas ki yes तीनों को illusion मानना है, this is illusion, this is, or it's only their own system, or they have some reference
They
verses.
will quote all such verses, no, where only Brahman is said to be reality. तो फिर वो बोलेंगे, if Brahman is the only reality, वो ईश्वर का पिछला वर्ग का टॉक क्या था फिर वो? So what should that be then?
Correct.
It should be illusion. So
Correct.
it's like, so it's
Okay.
elaborate illusion that keeps the sattvic people, nicely occupied with it. This is their idea. But that's what Ramanujacharya says. This is unacceptable, where Vyasadeva is explaining the whole creation and you call it as illusion. This is a complete bogus actually. It is not. Okay.
Yes, please.
Vilas, yes.
Yes, please. Guruji, I wanted to ask two questions. First one was regarding that word which came aniha, doesn't interfere, means Lord is quite detached and he gives it atarkya sahastra shakti, means he gives it to others, as you told Shivji and Brahmaji and others. So I wanted to ask, I heard something about it before from, I think, Hari Parshad Prabhu. Jiva Goswami says something regarding that in Sandarbhas also. How Lord in the spiritual world never thinks about what is happening in the material world. So just want, can you elaborate on that? Means does, like, especially our Aradhya Bhagavan, which is the Krishna in Vrindavan, we worship as our Aradhya. How is he in any way working on the Jivatmas in that way? Yes, please, if you elaborate.
Yeah, see, basically Krishna, he never thinks of material world except for his devotees in the material world. He thinks of his devotees in the material world, certainly. But apart from that, he doesn't think about anybody else. He has, what he does is he just expands himself into another form, which is the Purusha Rupas, and they think about the material world. Yes, but Supreme Lord himself is like so absorbed in his Leela and all that he is completely full always with that transcendental potential. But will we say that he does not think about the devotees? No, that is obviously not right. That is obviously will not be the case. He certainly thinks. In fact, Jiva Goswami in seventh canto, where that section is there, that Lord is not partial, Lord is impartial, Lord is not partial, right? First chapter only. So in that seventh canto's first chapter, he is analyzing this principle of Krishna's involvement with the material world. So he says there very clearly that Krishna involves in the material world only to the degree if his devotees like sadhakas and all, they are practicing bhakti. So in fact, when he creates the world also, he is primarily creating for them, he says. They are the ones, meaning through Paramatma, obviously, he doesn't create himself. But there is this thought of the living entities who are devotees. As far as the material, other living entities are concerned, he doesn't think about them. In the sense that as Paramatma, he thinks about them and worries about them, or rather not worries, but yeah, he just sort of allows them, he guides them in their journey this way. So yes, Prabhu, it is true that Krishna is completely absorbed in his spiritual world's pastimes that way. So he is not bothered about the material world. For that purpose, he has already expanded into Paramatma form. So then then if he has to do also Paramatma job, then why he should expand as Paramatma? Right. So he is already handling that in that particular way. But with devotees, he is reciprocal, not like Krishna doesn't worry about his devotees. Even sadhak, as I am saying, he becomes extremely interested in them. Okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. And another thing was that was thank you very satisfying. Another was regarding this like Kapil Muni when like in other places where appearance of Lord is mentioned. So we hear Janma Karma Samadivyam and we hear like how Krishna appeared in 400 men directly from the heart of Vasudeva Devaki transfer. Same for other many incarnations mentioned like that only. But for Kapil Muni, it's specifically written that he takes like sperm and then does the body and like that it is mentioned.
Yeah, yeah.
So so is it like that we can say matlab he's Swaraj, so he can come to this way of material, but it is not material because that makes otherwise it contradictory. I don't understand.
Yeah, it is true that sometimes he may take that kind of channel also, like that. So he, Supreme Lord, like Krishna, he appeared completely in the form of appearing in the heart of Vasudeva and then transferring himself in the heart of Devaki, like that, and then transferring himself in the womb of Mother Devaki. So now that is one way he can remain completely transcendental. But yes, here it is certainly mentioned that through the vital fluid of Kardama Muni, he entered. So now we understand that sometimes he may do such a thing also, but he remains transcendental. So he was actually there. He actually took shelter of Mother Devahuti's womb, Garbhat Jata. So we see that he remains transcendental, but sometimes he may do such a thing also. In order to give that joy of he being her son, actually, right? Even for Devaki, it is mentioned in the third chapter, 10th canto, that Krishna entered Devaki's womb, the belly, and she could see and experience that, the movement of the Lord in her belly and all. So that is because he wanted to give her that joy of actually he is my son. So then but at least for Krishna, we see that there it is clearly mentioned that he didn't accept the agency of being born in the way any ordinary child is born in this world. But for Kapila, though, it is mentioned like even he accepted that agency. But by his being transcendental, we can understand his overall position, the way Shastra is describing that. Even in that case, so it is just to give the joy of being actually carrying the Lord in the womb. That is the thing. So at least in 10th canto, Vishwanath Chakravarti writes like that, in that manner. So we see that sometimes Lord can do such a thing. Okay. Narhari Thakur Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, Brahma, I have two questions. Brahmaji is not able to see Lord face to face. So, what is that in Krishna Lila? He participates and sees Krishna or other Leelas. What is that understanding?
That understanding is this, that with the exception of Leela, he is not able to see the Lord face to face. That's the understanding. Whenever there is Leela, why Brahma? Duryodhan can also see. Leela means everybody can see. Devotee, non-devotee, Mishra Bhakta, whatever. Anybody can see. So such talks in Shastra of seeing, not seeing, they're always taking aside that aspect of Leela. लीला में तो हर कोई देख सकता है, उसमें तो कोई बात ही नहीं. But if it is not Leela, now who can see the Supreme Lord? Then Brahma can also not see. Although he is born from him, he can only meditate. But the pure devotees can see. Those who have love of Godhead can always see. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochnena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. Hridayeshu vilokayanti, and also they can see in front of them also. Sakshat darshanam also. Spurti, sakshat darshanam. Spurti means within heart, sakshat darshanam means in front of one's own eyes. So that is actually prema is the criterion for that. But apart from prema, Leela means Leela Kale tu sarvatra. Leela Kal, everybody can see the Supreme Lord. So she is praying for that scenario where it is not Leela. He has not manifested himself as Leela avatar.
This second question, I don't know, it is out of context. But Lord is, in what Prabhupada is writing, ultimately Lord's plan is fulfilled somewhere, Prabhupada is writing. So, nowadays we are hearing that there is some Bhavishya Malika or some, so in 2030 there will be such destruction and 64 crore people only will be left on the earth. So, what is our Vaishnava understanding for this? Means because we also say 10,000 year there will be golden age for the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So,
Yeah.
is such kind of scriptural reference is authorized because it's also coming from the reputed personalities. So, what do you have understanding about?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see any acharyas speaking about this Gaudiya Vaishnava acharyas, especially the mainstream acharyas, Goswamis or Vishwanath Chakravarti or like that. So, because they have not said anything, if it was something that important, they would have commented, no? They have not commented anywhere, at least not in my knowledge, not a single reference of any of these sort of things. So, in material world, the future is always a sensational matter, right? Everybody becomes very interested when you talk about future. And especially this war predictions and all, they have unlimited customers, 2025, 2012, 2030, 20, they keep on speaking these things. People keep on listening. So, yeah, I mean, I just heard of it. I never watched those videos. But point is, at least I checked about these things, like have any of our acharyas spoken anything on that? So we didn't find any. So yeah, I don't know on that front. But yeah, I mean, we don't have to spend so much time on such things because no, oftentimes people, maybe those books are genuine or they may or may not be, we don't know. But the people who are explaining, they may not be genuine. And they may not be experts also, right? Sometimes they predict so many things, but they become useless. We see that they never come true. So you're asking me, anyway, I'm quite skeptic about astrology and all that. So you are asking to me. So I will obviously not so much encourage anything like that. I feel sometimes a lot of devotees waste time also, What prediction, this, that. I mean, they just speak on these things. Prabhupada said in some world war will come, this, that. So sometimes people want to live also in a world of phantasmagoria rather than something substantial, taking shelter of something substantial. Because these talks go on and all, and finally nothing is accomplished much. They never become serious in bhakti because of that. Uh, so this is how. So I'm not just brushing aside the whole thing, but I'm saying it is not so much relevant or it's not so much important there are more important issues, right, in life. Our daily sadhana, surveys, how we are trying to improve caliber of our bhakti. These are the things. So, yeah, especially astrology is it can become a big trap. So we should be very careful from astrology. I have seen that it has knocked off many, many brahmacharis also, because they went on that track and then they started exploring, and that brought some ideas in their mind that, my astrology says I cannot remain a brahmachari. So finished then, next 1 week he was out like that. Why? Because that virus entered now. So that's why it's not good. If at all you want to say you, meaning I'm not saying you, but I'm saying any in general. So somebody wants to see for sannyas and all, it's okay, I would say, at that level. तो वो लेवल आने तक तो उसके पीछे लगना नहीं चाहिए बिल्कुल, because it can distract very much, actually, very much. I have seen terrible distraction. People just become completely distracted. So it's a perfect science, agreed. Astrology is, Pura Shastra is very perfect science. But are there people of that caliber? This is more important. So Bhavishya Malika may be a genuine book, possible, but are there the genuine and authentic interpreters of that? Because they interpret so many things and they go wrong so many times. Even if they come true, what solution they are suggesting? So all those things are there, right? So I feel best is to not take it that seriously, because they can act like big distractions, actually.
Sorry, thank you.
Very good. Okay, so very nice verse. Two verses are coming now. Text 6. Yannamadheya shravananukirtanad yat prahvaranad yat smaranadapi kvachit shvadopi sadyah savanaya kalpate kutah punaste bhagavan darshanat. Pandurang Sharan Prabhu, you can read. Thank you, Prabhu. Pandurang Sharan Prabhu can read now.
Yes,
Bhagavan Prabhu.
to say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face, even a person born in a family of dog eaters immediately becomes eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him.
Yeah. So, very popular verse. All of you have studied Bhakti Samit Sindhu. So, Prarabdha Haratvam. Uttama Bhakti has the characteristic of it destroys the Prarabdha also. So, for this Prarabdha Haratvam, this verse is quoted. Right? What does the verse say? Yan Namadheya Shravananu Kirtanad. By hearing the Namadheya, which means the holy name of the Supreme Lord, or Anukirtanad, or by repetitive chanting or singing of the holy names of the Lord, Yat Prahvaranad, or even offering namaskar to that Supreme Lord, or even to his holy name, Yat Smaranadapi Kvachid, or we see that remembering the Supreme Lord. Kvachit, not constantly also. Kvachit, sometimes. So by these activities, remembering the Lord's holy name, chanting the Lord's holy name, hearing the Lord's holy name, or remembering the Supreme Lord, or by offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord, what happens is Shvadopi Sadhyaha Savanaya Kalpate. Even the Shvada, even a dog eater, Sadhyaha immediately, Savanaya Kalpate. Kalpate means Samartho Bhavati. Such a person becomes Samartha, he becomes capable of performing a Savana Yagya, a Savanaya, which means a Yagya called as Savana. This is a Soma Yagya, very popular Yagya in the Vedic life, very exalted Yagya also. Savana Yagya, Chandra or Soma Yagya. So even if somebody is born as a Chandal, Shvada, now for such a person to be able to perform the sacrifice, it is extraordinary qualification. He cannot even sit in such sacrifice, Shwad. Chandal or the dog eater, forget about performing the sacrifice. He cannot even sit in the sacrifice. So how is that? By just chanting the holy names or by remembering the Supreme Lord. Even a dog eater is becoming qualified to perform the Soma Yagya. Kutah punaste bhagvanno darshanat. You see the context of the verse. Then what to speak of being able to see the Lord face to face? This is the context. And the verse is speaking in a Kaimutya fashion. Kim uta, what to speak of? She's saying the chanting of the holy names or remembering the Supreme Lord, offering him obeisances or offering namaskar to his holy name, or offering the ear, the reception, just hearing the holy names, not even constantly, sometimes that can make one qualified to perform Soma Yagya. What to speak of being able to see that Supreme Lord face to face, which I am able to. What a fortune it is, like that she is speaking. I have the fortune of seeing that Supreme Lord face to face. Kutah punaste bhagvanno darshanat. Like that. So now this verse has become a cause of a great discussion within Gaudiya tradition and other traditions also. So what happens here by saying that by chanting the holy names, one becomes qualified to perform the yajna? So Sridhar Swami says that anena pujo bhavati. So he says that what this verse wants to say, that the person becomes puja, he becomes as qualified as or as respectable as a Somayaji Brahman, a Brahmana who is capable to perform Somayagya. So Sridhar Swami says he becomes respectable like that. It's not that he will become qualified to perform Somayagya. Meaning he's not saying it explicitly, but he says Anyanna Pujyo Bhavati. This means that he becomes respectable like that Somayagya Brahman person. So there is some difference of opinion between Srila Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti on this verse. So Srila Jiva Goswami says that, well, the person certainly becomes qualified because of that chanting of the holy name. What happens is such a person, Bhagavatam or here Devahuti Mata is saying that such a person becomes qualified to perform Soma Yagya. But Jiva Goswami says what this means is that such a person actually loses the disqualification which was stopping him from being able to perform the Soma Yagya. What was that disqualification? That disqualification was his birth in the Chandal family. He was a Shwada, or his birth, his not being born in a Brahman family. That disqualification was there. But with the chanting of the holy names, that disqualification is gone. So you see, this is the prarabdha haratvam. This is the destruction of prarabdha. By prarabdha, if the Chandal person, was he capable to perform a Soma Yagya? He was not. But by chanting the holy names, he is becoming capable to perform the Soma Yagya. So that means that prarabdha's dosh, the fault of his prarabdha is being washed away. It's being taken away. Isn't it? Certain parts of prarabdha, they can be changed or that they can be destroyed by Supreme Lord. Not all prarabdha can be changed, but certain prarabdha he can destroy certainly. Supreme Lord, like somebody has a prarabdha. By prarabdha you get a sickly body. So if by practice of bhakti one may become very healthy. So one's prarabdha was supposed to be sickly body, but then one became very hale and healthy by whatever Krishna's mercy. Someone may not be very intelligent, but because of practice of bhakti, Krishna bestowed upon him great intelligence. So now you see, prarabdha is being changed, isn't it? So similarly, someone who is not, because of being born in a Chandal family, he is not to be respected as a Brahmana, but he is being respected as a Brahmana now because of chanting. So you have practically obliterated, finished, destroyed that prarabdha. But still, because that Soma Yagya also will need a training, right? Jiva Goswami says, without training, even somebody born in a Brahmin family can also not do the yagya. Take an example of somebody who is really born in that Brahman, Somyaji Brahman family. But that fellow, he never underwent any training. At the age of 8, he should join a Gurukul and he should start Vedarambha. He should start studying the Vedas. But he never did such a thing. So now, how can such a person be made to sit to do Somyagga? It's not possible, right? So if it's not possible for even a Brahmana, how is it possible for somebody who is not even born in that Brahmin family without the training? So because that training is not there, so Jiva Goswami says that such a person, he does not do those yagyas because he lacks that shishtachar. He lacks that aspect of the trainings and the etiquettes and all those aspects. And typically speaking, in Vedic times, there would be a certain age by which you have to receive those trainings. So if somebody is, Chandal and coming to bhakti process at a certain age, so it is quite likely that he might have already passed beyond the stage where he should go and join a Gurukul and learn all these things and thus be qualified to do Somyagya. So that's why Jiva Goswami says that Anantar Janmani. So typically, such a person will have to undergo some training in these aspects, and then in the next life, he will become qualified to perform Somyagya. That appears to be his mainstream opinion, based on the words that he speaks. So just as even a Brahman child needs that birth, Savitra Janma it is called, the birth by getting second initiation and getting the proper training. Similarly, he says, this person also, who is chanting the holy names and all, but he also needs that Savitri Janma and all. Without that, he cannot do Somyagya like that. So now that Savitri Yagya, Savitri Janma, which means second initiation and all, can it happen now? So Jiva Goswami takes the stand of basically it has a certain age at which it should happen. And that Shishtachar, those trainings also have to happen at a certain age. So if one loses that particular thing, then especially the karmakand aspect of Somyagya, it will not allow him to learn these things at some other later stage and start performing Somyagya. So that's why he says that such a person, Anantar Janmani, he should do these, he can do these things in the next life only. So that's how he is speaking on this aspect. So you can see directly his words are here. He says that, so that's why it means that yogyatayam labdharambho bhavati. Such a person, he begins the eligibility to perform the Somayagya. Tad anantar janmani eva. But in another birth, dvijatvam prapya, getting the birth of that dvija, which would mean that he is getting that savitra janma. Tada tadadi adhikari syat. Then he will become eligible. Then he will become eligible for such a thing, like that. So this is the opinion of Srila Jiva Goswami. But Vishwanath Chakravarti says that actually, he says no, this person becomes sadhya tat kshana eva. He becomes qualified to perform that Somayaga immediately in that lifetime itself. So he says that if he is becoming qualified in the next life, then what is so special about it? The point is that he becomes qualified in the same life. He needs a training. Okay, that is agreed. He needs some training, and that training and shishtachar and all that, that one should receive. So that is fine. But once that is done, then the person doesn't have to wait till next life for doing the yajna. He can this way. So that's why, he says that just saying that such a person becomes respectable like Somayaji Brahman, he just becomes respected like that. So he says that is actually Kashtakalpana. If somebody is saying like that, he says that is not a very, it's actually just unnecessarily making it complicated. The verse is not saying like that. The verse is saying very clearly that one becomes qualified immediately, sadhyaha. So you can see here I'm showing you Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu's commentary because this is an important verse, so I'm showing you this. You can see Yogyatvam atra yagadhikar swarupam eva. So he says, when we talk about eligibility, here we mean that he is actually eligible to perform the yajna this way. So he says it is possible for such a person. So, nacha tadrish swapachasya yagadhikarikatve sakatham yagam na karoti iti vacham. So he says that we don't have to ask this question that okay, how can he perform such a yajna? No, if the person receives the training, if the person receives the necessary rituals, he can actually do it this way. But he has a very important point to say. As far as Jiva Goswami, he says that you see, here what it means is Janmantarapeksha vartate. There is expectation of Janmantara, there is expectation of another birth in order to perform that this way. So now, whether this birth means another Shaukra Janma, another seminal birth, or whether this birth only means the Savitra Janma, which means the second initiation. So based on that, people interpret Jiva Goswami's words also. When Jiva Goswami is saying that for somebody who chants the holy name but is not born in a Brahmin family, he can do the yajna, but for that there is expectation of Janmantara, another birth. Janmantara in Sanskrit means अनादर बर्थ, तो दूसरे जन्म की अपेक्षा वहां पर है। तो ये दूसरा जन्म कौन सा है? ये शौक्र जन्म है और ये सावित्र जन्म है, बाय टेकिंग सेकेंड इनिशिएशन। सो if you are saying it is only second initiation, then in that way Jeev and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur are saying the same thing. But if you say it to mean Shaukra Janma, then they have a different stand on that. So Vishwanath Chakravarti says that no, the point is that he becomes qualified in the same life. But he says, why should such a devotee perform the Somyagya? What interest he has got in performing the Somyagya, right? You say, he says, first clarify the point. Is he qualified? He is qualified, provided he has undergone the training, he has undergone the initiation. Is he qualified? He is qualified. Can he do it? Yes, he can do it. So this, first of all, get it drilled in the head very clearly, he's saying. But then he says, but will such a devotee do Somyagya? He says, why will he do? What business he has got doing Somyagya? Tasya shuddha bhaktatvena karmani shraddha rahityat. Actually, because he is following the path of pure devotional service. So such a person does not have any much faith in the path of karma kand. Shraddha rahitra. उसको कर्मकांड के मार्ग पे ज्यादा श्रद्धा नहीं है. So that's why will he perform the Somyagya? He says he will not perform Somyagya. Sometimes we see that some grahasthas who are satkulotpanna, some grahasthas who are born in a very Brahmin family or like that, and they also don't have any interest in that karma kand path, but still they loka sangrahartam, just for some setting an example in society, because they're born in that particular family, so that they are not criticized by others, so they perform such sacrifices. But Shraddha Rahita, but they don't have any, it's not like they're greatly delighted in performing such sacrifices. Loka Sangraham Evapi Sampashyan Kartum Arhasi. Krishna also says in this way, right? But just saying that Soma Yagya Kartrutvat Pugjo Bhavati, the person becomes only respectable like Som Yaggi. He says, Iti Vyakhyane, if one is interpreting like that, Granthasya Kashta Kalpana Apatte, फिर तो ग्रंथ की कष्ट कल्पना होगी. You are too much stretching it beyond unnecessary that level, he says. Kashta kalpana means, you understand?
Can you repeat
Kalpana is
what you said just now?
Granthasya kashta kalpana apatte, which means that there is apatti, there is the obstacle or disaster of kashta kalpana. Kashta kalpana means, stretching or making it unnecessarily complex. Yeah, that would be the right translation. Kashta kalpana. You are unnecessarily making it laborious by saying that he just becomes respectable. Now, the verse is saying Sadhya Savanaya Kalpat. He becomes immediately qualified to do that this way. So he's quite emphatic on that. He says, Savana ayogyasya eva prarabdha nashakatvam natu pujyatvasya. So this verse is not talking about pujyatva aspect, that the person becomes as respectable as a brahmana. No, the point is, it is saying it is destroying his prarabdha of not being able to perform that yajna. He can perform that yajna. In the same life he can perform. But he will not perform because he has no interest in that. This is his point. And in fact, I was reading many commentaries on this verse. It is amazing that none other than Vallabhacharya, who for that matter, Pushtis are quite strict on that aspect of Brahman and like that. But you can see, even he writes Vallabhacharya Virachita Subodhini. That's his commentary, Subodhini. So he says, Shvadopi, which means Chandalopi, Sadhyaha, Savanaya, Soma Bhishava Yogyatvaya. He becomes qualified. Sadhya means Tasmin Neva Janmani. You see, it is amazing. He also has written Tasmin Eva Janmani, Usi Janam mein. He is not saying Anyasmin Janmani. He is saying Tasmin Eva Janmani. He becomes qualified to perform the Somayagya. So, this is an interesting expansion. Even Vallabhacharya also. So, point is here what you can see that point is not that a devotee after initiation and all, then sit with that Sruk Sruva and Chalu Kar Diya Usne Somyagya. That's not the point at all. Sometimes some Western devotees and all, they want to do such things. But this is not what the verse is saying at all. First and foremost, a Vaishnava, what business he has got doing Somyagya? Why should he do such a thing? He should not. But it is driving home a certain idea of that the potency of bhakti, the potency of holy name. And Prabhupada says that this potency of holy name, this sort of potency is manifested at the level of namabhas. So Prabhupada is also qualifying that chanting. He's saying it should be at least at the level of namabhas. So, yes, because we know that at the level of namabhas, the complete destruction of sins happens. And one becomes cleared of all the sinful reactions. One becomes qualified for liberation because of that only, because all the sinful reactions are completely destroyed. So there is certain caliber to that chanting also. That's what I want to say, isn't it? But point is, yes, Shvada, somebody who is even a Chandala, such a person, if he's taking to the process of bhakti, taking initiation, and such a person, then he becomes actually qualified to perform even Somyagya, meaning he has become a Brahmana now. In fact, he has become greater than a Brahmana. This way, in that same birth, in that particular manner. So, still a devotee is not interested is because this is the path of karma kand. And a devotee is not interested in karma kand. So, that's why he will not. And also sometimes you don't have to disturb a certain social order. You can imagine even somebody like Lord Chaitanya, who was so influential that he would have easily got entry for personalities like Haridas Thakur and such personalities also in Puri temple. But did he do it? He did not do it. What was difficult for Lord Chaitanya? He would have, right? But he never did it because it could have disturbed the social order very much, like that. In fact, we see that even Goswamis did not. They also avoided darshan of Lord Jagannath by going in temple. So there is this sense of also loka vichar, sense of the social order. So that's why just taking verses like this and then trying to justify Vaishnavas doing the Vedic yagyas and all, that also I think would be taking it to another extreme actually. That is never the thrust of this verse at all. None of the acharyas, neither Vishwanath Chakravarti nor Jiva Goswami nor Sridhar Swami is quoting this verse as a recommendation for performing Soma Yagya by Vaishnavas. No, none of them. It's just that it is telling about that very, very special qualification. So that's how the Prarabdha Haratvam aspect is spoken in terms of, yes, the Prarabdha dosha is being taken away completely this way. So, what, anything remaining in that verse? Yeah. And then the last aspect, yeah, Kutha Punaste. So what to speak of then? Seeing the Lord face to face, right? That is actually possible only when you have love of Godhead. Then only you can see Him face to face. Otherwise, it's not possible. And of course, if the Leela is there, then one can. A person, so I will stop with this verse because it's already time. And only 2 verses are remaining, so it's okay, we'll finish tomorrow. A person born in a family of low caste, which is accustomed to eat dogs, is so positioned due to his past sinful activities. But by chanting or hearing once in pureness, in an offenseless manner, so that is namabhas, he is immediately relieved of the sinful reactions. In fact, such a person, he achieves the result of all purificatory processes. But a person who chants the holy name of the Lord, even if born in a family of Chandal, dog eaters, see that Shwa, the word is not, it does not say that somebody who ate dog once. It is in continuous sense, meaning in the sense of one who is born in that family. ऐसे नहीं गलती से कभी किसी ने कुत्ता खाया तो उसको श्वाद बोलेंगे, नहीं. श्वाद यानी वो तो श्व भक्षक जाति विशेष. We are talking about one particular jati called as those who eat dogs regularly, which is considered to be most abominable in Vedic life. Chandal. They are called Chandal, Chandal, Shwad, such people. So we see that simply by chanting Hare Krishna, he immediately becomes purified. Sridhar Swami especially says, Anena Pujyatvam Lakshate. Some caste Brahmanas remark that by chanting Hare Krishna, purification begins. Of course, Prabhupada takes Sridhar Swami's comment and he basically gives explanation in a way that it supports the idea that he is speaking. This remark of Sridhar Swami's is completely applicable if one chants the holy name of the Lord without offense, for he immediately becomes more than a Brahmana. So he's saying that Sridhar Swami's, so that may be another way of looking at Sridhar Swami's comment. Although typically Sridhar Swami's comment is seen as the comment which says that he only becomes respectable and he does not actually become qualified to perform the yajna. Prabhupada is giving another angle also now to Sridhar Swami. As Sridhar Swami says, he immediately becomes as respectable as a most learned Brahmana and can be allowed to perform Vedic sacrifices. This way. Then what can be said of those who see Supreme Lord face to face? Then the famous verse is quoted from Sanatana Goswami's Hari Bhakti Vilas. Originally, the verse is from Tattva Sagar, actually. This book is called Tattva Sagar, which is one of the Vaishnava Agamas from Sri Sampradaya line. So Tattva Sagar says, as a base metal, yatha kanchanatam yati, kansyam rasa vidhanataha, tatha diksha vidhanena, dvijatvam jayate nranam. Just as the kansya, kasa, by alchemy process with mercury, it can turn it into gold. Many people have tried it. At least today, it's not possible, it seems. Many metallurgy people tried, because this is mentioned in many of the Dhatu Shastra books also. Traditionally, these ideas are spoken everywhere. But yeah, so point is, just as that can happen, similarly, Diksha Vidhanena, similarly by undergoing the Brahman Diksha, Dvijatva Diksha, so one can become actually a Dvija, one can become a Brahmana. It's possible by the Diksha Vidhana. So we can see very clearly. It is sometimes remarked that by chanting process one begins to purify and then can take birth in his next life in a Brahman family and then be reformed. So this is another idea, right? But at this present moment, Prabhupada says even those who are born in best Brahmin families are not reformed. Nor is there any certainty that they're actually born of Brahmin fathers. I mean, this is with any family for that matter, right? But especially somebody may be very proud of being a Brahmana, but it's quite likely that that marriage may be pratiloma or, sanskaras to forget only. Who observes Garbhadan samskar? So if there is no Garbhadan, then the child is considered a Shudra only, like that. No, he's born as a Shudra only then, if there is no Garbhadan. So we see that there is no such Garbhadan. Under these circumstances, no one knows if a man is actually born of a Brahmin father also. So this is why finally it actually depends on a spiritual master. Whether one has acquired the qualification of a Brahmana depends on the judgment of the bona fide spiritual master. He bestows upon the disciple the position of Brahmana by his own judgment. So if he is undergoing Pancharatrik initiation, and by that Diksha Vidhana, if he is being turned into Dvija, so what is the problem? There is no problem. But this caste Goswamis and many others who are against this idea of making Lechas and Yavanas into Brahmanas, or even Shudras for that matter. And they are okay with Kshatriyas and Vaishyas being made into Brahmanas, but they are very much against Mlecha, Yavana and all. So that's why this verse also, it is not saying Shudropi Sadhya Savanaya Kalpate. Shudro, Shudra bhi phir Somyagi Brahmana. It is saying Shwadopi. You have put the lowest category, meaning Mlecha, Yavana, and all these others who are higher than that, they can certainly become qualified to undergo, all these aspects. So the point is, this verse is one of the very important verses that is quoted whenever this idea of Brahmana by birth comes in this way. So, it is very clear Devahuti is saying this particular aspect. But still people argue on that matter, saying that no, not in this life, they have to wait till next life. And they may sometimes say, even Jiva Goswami is saying like that only. That's his idea. But we see that the way the Goswamis institutionalized and they spoke about the ideas of how the preaching should be done. So naturally, they are not saying such a thing that Brahmanatva is only by birth and not by qualities and by proper samskaras. Jiva Goswami's preaching or the other books you can see, they don't speak these ideas. He speaks very clearly in favor of turning everyone into a Brahmana by giving them the proper Diksha, making them twice born. So that's how Prabhupada's mood was, and with this mood he preached and made so many great devotees, Brahmanas. So that's why we follow the mood of Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhaktivedanta Thakur. I mean, that's the mood of all the acharyas, in fact, in our line. So Prabhupada's unprecedented success, we see, yeah, some of them, many may not have been able to follow those rigid vows and keep them. They might have fallen from that condition. But the principle is true. The principle holds true. Right? For that matter, even a Brahmana can fall down. Born Brahman person, he may also fall down. It happens all the time. Right? So similarly, this also. So certainly we respect those who are born in Brahman family. If they become Vaishnavas, then they are really special people, because by their background also they are pure and they have taken the path also which is very pure. But even if somebody is not from that background, but he has accepted the path of Krishna consciousness, so then such a person should also be equally respected, because we see Yena Kena Prakarana, finally he is also situated at a very pure level. So sometimes even in our own movement, this Brahmanism and just unnecessarily highlighting somebody born in a Brahmin family and all that sort of thing goes on. So this is also a remnant of that same attachment of ideas to being born in a Brahmin family or like that. So we see that that should be taken care, that we don't highlight unnecessarily. We respect, but we also make sure that Vaishnavism remains at the highest pedestal. So sometimes we see that that particular aspect of getting too much highlighted, and it's not good actually. It's not good. The tendency is there in Indian people always this way. So anyway, point of this verse, you understand that it is glorifying the aspect of bhakti and how this bhakti can destroy even the prarabdha. Okay, let's stop here. If you have any questions, let's begin tomorrow with the questions and then we'll proceed. Anyway, in this chapter, only those first 8 verses, 9 verses are some philosophy. After that, it's just katha. So I will wind up very quickly, maybe within 1 hour. Katha in the sense, just this happened, this happened, this happened. That's it. So we'll end this tomorrow. Okay, so now it is very late, 2:30. So I think we'll pause. You keep your questions. Tomorrow we will take.
Just one comment, very small. Like in that note, Bhanu Maharaj writes, quotes Bhaktivedanta Thakur also, and where he's saying that Jiva Goswami's comment about next birth is for general populace, but those who have gone through Vaishnava Diksha, they are qualified in this very life. Like that, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur says his commentary on Bhagavatam.
I'm just trying to remember the context of that. Okay, fine. Let's discuss tomorrow. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So tomorrow 11 o'clock we'll.
11 o'clock will start.
Okay.
Yes. Hare Bhava.